Morgan, thanks for doing this interview with me, man. I got to apologize to you, though, for folks who are watching this whole interview on Rudy Blair Entertainment Media. It's raining out there. It's cold. It's not supposed to be this way in Toronto, my friend. And I got to assume the last time you were in Toronto, was it like this?
This is my first time in Toronto, so this is my first impression, man.
This is the first time in Toronto.
Yeah, first time. But I like the rain, though, so we're all good.
Okay, well, look, my apologies on the way the rain is because with your music, man, you should have been bringing in the sunshine, man, because you bring a lot of joy, man. I love what you're doing, and I just love the fun in it, man.
Well, thank you, man. I can get down with that. I agree. I should have brought the sunshine. And it's not raining at the moment, so maybe we're starting to make a little turn in the action, you know? I don't know, but thank you for saying that. I hope that's what my music brings to a lot of people.
Well, for me, it did, man, because I want to get into a little bit of it, or I'm going to jump right into it, man. The way I talk, when I listened to it, man, it sounded like it was sort of like kind of a rap hip hop thing. I was thinking, like, I understand this is country, but man, I would love to hear you and Nelly do something together because it felt like it was that kind of a Nelly kind of groove, but with a country touch to it.
Yeah, man. I guess I've got a lot of different influences. I like to stick to my traditional country like leanings. I guess in the music you can tell obviously it's country music, but man, I've got so much of a modern flair. I guess I grew up in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I had a lot of different friends, like I had friends of every shape, size, color, whatever, and I guess I kind of got a lot of from them. And now that I'm putting it in my music, man, I didn't really have any plans to try to make it a certain way. Just kind of, it's just me. And if Nelly wants to hop on a track, I would love that.
But you still kept in a lot of that traditional country flavor in that. How important was it for you to get that in there?
It's definitely important for me. I think I don't know how everything changes throughout your career. Obviously, I can't be a predictor of that, but me, I want to stick to that. I love that about country. I think that's always something that's going to stick around. There's always going to be that traditional roots, that goes on in country. Obviously, like I said, I'll bring my own modern flair and the things that I love into it. But I always want to, kind of pay respect to that kind of thing. And we did my whole record with a full band, kind of almost did it like the old school way. No, there's nothing like programmed or anything like that, and organic wooden type sound. And that's what I love about country. How real it is. So I hope I always stick to that.
Okay, man. Well, let's get in a little bit because you did kind of talk about originally where you were from, Tennessee, of course. You play a lot of different instruments, though, man.
Well, I play a couple. Whenever I was a kid, I played violin, and I don't really dabble in that anymore. But I wish I did. I also play piano and guitar too. So, I guess if I really tried to pull out the violin and practice, I'd say I could probably pick it up again. But I love to. I really like sitting down. It's not necessarily my mainstream or stuff that I put out, but I love sitting down and writing just a little, like a piano ballad. I love to do that.
I was going to get into that because I've been noticing lately country artists have been going back to the piano in the traditional piano, man. Why do you think that is?
I'm not sure, man. I really don't know. I think there's going to be a right time for that in my career for me to release something like that. I don't think I've gotten to it yet. But I really connect well with my songs and with, just sitting there, me and the piano. And I think I want to put something out like that one day. I don't know why it's coming back around to that, though. I'm not sure.
Well, let's get to the family because, and correct me if I'm wrong, mom's a teacher, dad's a preacher?
That's right, yeah, man. That's how I grew up. I guess I had the poetry thing going on early, preacher, teacher thing. I don't know. They were really good to me growing up, man. I had a great upbringing, so it's been awesome.
But what were you listening to, man? Musically, off the radio or the internet, wherever? What were you listening to back then?
Yeah, well, my dad, obviously I grew up in church, so a lot of Christian music, a lot of hymns. But my dad likes hard rock, believe it or not, like classic rock, like Def Leppard, Led Zeppelin, Bad Company, all that kind of thing, AC/DC. So I listened to that with him, and I always loved it. I loved the hard rock type of thing. And Mom, she wasn't such a big fan of that. She liked country and really liked, like contemporary Christian type music. So I had a bunch of different things, I guess going into my head that kind of led towards my influence. And I got to be a little bit older, and I really loved the kind of Three Doors Down type thing that was going on, Probably, I guess I was 12, 13 during that time, and that helped shape me as well. And, I always loved country too, but Eric Church is the first person that really made me fall in love with country music. So Love Your Love the Most, one of his songs, is the first song I ever heard of him. And it kind of just hit me in a way that no song ever had, just how real it was and how visually it took you somewhere, and it just kind of made me forget about everything else going on. And that's the first song that made me really love country music, and started digging deeper and deeper and realized how much I actually really did love it and without knowing it. And, I really love Tim McGraw. Keith Whitley is my favorite country voice. So I have a bunch of different influences, man.
So was it your mom that got you on The Voice? Because you were on that for a short time.
Yeah, it was. She signed me up when, I guess it was 2014 now. She drove me out there to try out and everything. We tried out in St. Louis, but yeah, I ended up getting on there. So yeah, she's to blame for all this.
So how did that work out, man? Because if I understand correctly, you were picked by Usher, but did Adam Levine steal you?
Yeah, he sure did, man. And I think Battle Rounds is what that's when it happened. And yeah, Adam, I guess he liked some of my sound and picked me. But that I always looked at that experience since then, just as a kind of a stepping stone for my career. It kind of helped me, kind of jump started me, because that was really the first thing I'd ever done as an artist. Like, I'd never had my own show or concert or anything. So that was kind of just my way of quickly learning what it's like, I didn't really know who I was as an artist or even as a person when I went on there. I was only 20 years old. And, I had a lot of people tell me from the show I need to be a pop singer, blah, 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 all these different things going into my head. And finally, I just, decided I needed to do what I knew.
Okay, I want to jump into that, man, because how do you deal with that when you've got people who are in the business for years saying, we know what you should be, but here you are in your heart knowing what you are meant to be? How do you bridge that and bring that back to who you are today?
Well, I mean, honestly, it never really changed what I thought of myself. But there's, certain contracts and things like that to where you don't have as much of a say as you'd like, so you do what you have to do, But I always knew in my heart, because as soon as I started writing, it was obviously country music. As soon as I picked up a guitar and started playing, it was obvious that that's what I wanted to do, in my heart. So it was never a question for me, really.
When did Nashville come into play? When did you move to Nashville? Because you started working with another gentleman, and I'm probably getting the name wrong, Sanchez. There you go.
Yeah, I met him in Knoxville, and he was in the music thing. He was giving vocal lessons, and that's how I met him. And I was just trying to make sure I kept my voice strong, and ended up meeting him, and he started writing country songs and stuff like that. And he was in a rock band, and he had some managers who he introduced me to, and those managers ended up, taking a liking to me, and signed me, and we met a booking agent who also books Florida Georgia Line and Jason Aldean and some other people, and he signed me as well. And he said, hey, man, move to Nashville as soon as you can. So I did, and, just started sending my demos that I had at that time just around to whoever would listen, and, started meeting people and getting connected, and that's how I ended up with my record deal. So yeah,
something must have worked out, man, because when Rolling Stone is saying that you're one of the top 10 country artists to look out for, man, that must have been a thrill to see something like that.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. It's really, for me, I kind of just keep my head down and, keep it going, what I'm doing, and try not to change a whole lot no matter what anyone says, So I obviously I really appreciate it, but it's really cool for me, for my family, to get to see stuff like that, because they get to see, like, oh, my boy or whoever it is, to see, oh, he's doing good, That means a lot to me when people take notice, because it lets everyone know that I'm not just out here doing nothing, No,
I kind of mentioned about, I thought that you were here in Toronto before, but did you make a CCMA appearance?
Yeah, well, I came up here, and that was my first experience in Canada, and London. So I came up here and got to meet a lot of the people in Canadian radio, and kind of just did a little introduction. We hung out at the top floor of one of the hotels, and just kind of played some of my songs and got to know a bunch of them. Oh, sorry about that. And figured out there's a lot of great people up here in Canada, man. So I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, no, man, Canadian country is exploding, just like the way your career is too, man. So when we get to the EP, how did this all come about, man? Like, because this is sort of like a little taste, little introduction kind of taste on what you're all about.
Yeah, well, I'm also a songwriter, so I write a lot of songs. And we started out, with a song board, I guess you'd say, like a dry erase board almost. I guess it was a dry erase board, yeah. And, excuse me. and kind of just started narrowing down. We knew we had to get to like 5 or 6 songs, and kind of just started narrowing down. And we wouldn't do it all at once. We'd have a meeting, and then we'd mark a couple off, and we'd hang out and live with the songs a little bit more. Come back, mark a couple off, live with the songs a little bit more. Come back, mark off, and then the 5 that we put out is just kind of what we came up with. And now the process is a little bit different. I've already gotten so many songs. I could put out an album now if I wanted. It's just we're exploring different ways. We may put out a couple EPs. We may not do a full length album. With the way music is now, and and that's what we're exploring. And we want to keep people's attention. And kind of the way I love the way like a guy like Drake. I'll drop a Toronto reference on y'all. He puts out he'll put out a 21 song album, and then he'll put out a 10 song mixtape. Like a month later, so like people just are ready to consume. So we're just trying to get as much music ready as we can while we have the time to do it, in the studio and stuff while we're not on tour. So, and then we'll put it out periodically, hopefully as much as we can. So we're just trying to get as much as we can done right now.
Okay, now the lead single though, man, I saw the video on it too, and I couldn't stop laughing, man. That's why I said, I love your music. It's so much fun, man. What did that song mean for you in writing it? Does it make a difference, man, in how you sound or how you speak or the way you sound?
Well, it's I guess the title, the hook, the way I talk is just kind of a way to let you know the things that I believe in, the things that I love, the way I was raised. And it's like, here I am, and love me or hate it. It's just, this is me. And that's what we wanted to kind of get across in our first single, just to let people know who you are. And also, I wanted to get a sound to where people, whether they liked it or not, they would wonder who it is, And I feel like with that song, we've accomplished kind of a, at least a head turner. Like, I don't know what that is, but I want to know. And that's what we wanted, and we feel like we've accomplished, most of the things with that song that we wanted to with my first single. And also, I'm starting to see that people that I have absolutely nothing in common with, that we don't have beliefs or any of that in common, that they've inserted their own things. They can relate to that song because they have different things that they would put in there. But at the same time, that's what they're thinking about when they hear the song. So it's cool for me, man.
It's a perfect summer track, man. So are you gonna be hitting some festivals or shows with that track and the rest?
I've got a lot of shows this year, man. I don't have much downtime at all. This week I'm touring with Florida Georgia Line up here in Canada.
Yes.
So I'm doing 4 shows with them up here, and then we're gonna head back to the States and start doing some festivals. Got a lot of festivals, a lot more dates with Florida Georgia Line coming up to be announced soon too. So that's gonna be awesome in the States. I can't remember how many shows it is, but it's a lot. So we're gonna be busy this summer.
Okay, I gotta double check too, man. What's your height?
I'm about 6 foot.
Okay, well, you're gonna feel short, man, because those boys. They're like 6'4", 6'5", something like that.
They're tall, man. I've actually become pretty good friends with them, so I already know how it feels. So I'm good. We're good.
I cannot wait for this, man. Look, for everything that you're doing, man, social media. Where can we go to follow you to see other music? Hopefully an album soon, and hopefully getting you back here more often, man. Not just a one-shot deal or whatever. More often.
Hey, I would love to come back. I don't have much time today, but Toronto looks like a beautiful city, so I'm trying to explore. But my Instagram and Twitter are Morgan C. Wallen, Wallen. My Facebook is Morgan Wallen, just my name. My website is morganwallen.com. I guess pretty much everything that you need to know are in those places.
All right, my friend. Look, thanks so much for doing this interview with me, man. Really enjoyed it, man, and congrats on all the success.
Thank you so much, man. Really enjoyed it as well.